Hello, magnificent procrastinators and accidental philosophers. Welcome back to Deep Chit Chat, the only channel where we tackle life's profound questions with the intellectual rigor of a particularly insightful pub quiz team. Today, we're diving headfirst into a phrase so deceptively simple, it's practically a philosophical black hole. Don't try. Yes, the immortal words of the legendary, hard-drinking, chain-smoking bard of the American underbelly, Charles Bukowski. Now, if anyone's first thought was probably, brilliant. Finally, a philosophy that justifies my weekend Netflix binge and my general aversion to adulting. Your inner child wants you to click that subscribe button. Don't disappoint them again. But hold your horses, or rather, don't try to hold your horses, because it's not quite that simple. This isn't a rallying cry for universal sloth, much as our collective inner teenager wishes it were, so, don't try. On the surface, it sounds like the ultimate excuse. Why didn't you finish that report, Kevin? Oh, you know, Bukowski. Trying is for suckers. But if we truly embraced this, wouldn't humanity still be living in caves, grunting at each other, and trying to figure out if that woolly mammoth was friend or dinner? Spoiler, it was usually dinner, but only after a lot of trying by our ancestors with pointy sticks. The common interpretation of don't try often misses the subtle, almost Zen-like core of Bukowski's message. He wasn't advocating for apathy. He wasn't saying, just sit there and wait for greatness to fall into your lap like a particularly ripe avocado. No, what he meant was, don't force it. It's like trying to squeeze toothpaste out of an almost empty tube. One might contort, strain, and turn purple, and what do you get? A tiny, pathetic blob that barely covers one bristle. Bukowski's don't try isn't about being a couch potato, it's about recognizing that true creativity, the good stuff, often has a mind of its own. It's like trying to force a particularly pungent cheese to ripen faster, you just end up with a mess, not a masterpiece. Now, here's the kicker, the philosophical equivalent of finding out your favorite vegan chef secretly loves bacon. Bukowski, the patron saint of don't try, spent his entire life, well, trying. He wrote thousands of poems, dozens of novels, countless short stories. He worked grueling, soul-crushing jobs. He drank. A lot. He lived. A lot. So, was he a hypocrite? Was don't try just a catchy slogan for his gravestone, like here lies Dave, he tried his best, mostly? Not at all. Bukowski's trying wasn't about external validation or chasing trends. It was an unavoidable compulsion. He wrote because he had to. It burst out of him like a stubborn sneeze. His effort wasn't forced, it was an organic consequence of who he was. He didn't try to be a writer, he was a writer, and the writing simply happened. It was less about striving for a goal and more about simply being in the flow, even if that flow was often a murky, alcoholic river. This idea of not forcing it, of embracing a more natural rhythm, actually has a rather distinguished philosophical cousin in the form of Bertrand Russell's essay, In Praise of Idleness. Now, Russell wasn't quite the gritty, bard-welling poet Bukowski was. More of a tweed-wearing, tea-sipping intellectual. But his point? Equally revolutionary, and equally likely to get you fired from your corporate job. Russell argued that the modern obsession with work, with being constantly busy, is not only unnecessary but actively harmful. He suggested that with modern technology, we could all work about 4 hours a day and still produce everything society needs. The rest of the time? Leisure. Glorious, unadulterated leisure, imagine that. 4 hours of work, then the rest of the day to pursue your passions, contemplate the universe, or perfect the art of competitive napping. Russell believed that true progress, art, and philosophy emerge not from endless toil, but from the quiet spaces of contemplation and play. He saw the virtue of hard work as a relic of a bygone era, a morality designed to keep the masses toiling for the benefit of a few. Basically, he was saying, stop trying so hard to be a busy little bee, you're missing the point of the honey. So, how does one actually do this without ending up as a professional couch potato with a questionable sock puppet collection? It's less about a grand philosophical leap and more about a subtle shift in perspective. 1. Find your compulsion. Instead of chasing what you think you should do, find what you can't not do. Bukowski had his writing, Russell had his deep thoughts, and some of us just can't resist explaining why pineapple belongs on pizza. When it feels less like work and more like breathing, you're probably onto something. 2. Ditch the external validation metrics, forget the digital applause. The endless scroll of perfectly curated lives on social media? That's the ultimate trying. Do things because they genuinely compel you, not because they'll get you a gold star from your overly competitive auntie. 3. Embrace the flow state. Ever found yourself so utterly absorbed in something that hours vanish, and suddenly it's 3 a.m., you haven't eaten, and your phone is blowing up with urgent notifications? That, my friends, is the don't try sweet spot. It's the effortless effort, the kind that makes you wonder if time itself just took a coffee break. 4. Practice strategic laziness. This isn't about becoming a professional slacker, though we can all dream. It's about recognizing when more effort just means more banging your head against a wall. Sometimes, the universe hands you the answer when you're least expecting it, usually when you're staring blankly at a wall. Taking a strategic nap, or pretending to be productive while actually just scrolling through cat videos. Your subconscious is a busy little beaver when your conscious mind is on vacation. 5. Be okay with good enough. Let's be honest, perfectionism is just trying in a fancy disguise. The world isn't going to spontaneously combust if your socks don't perfectly match your existential dread. Sometimes, 80% is not just good enough, it's a triumph. Embrace the glorious imperfection of it all. Ultimately, don't try isn't about giving up. It's about giving in to your authentic self, to your genuine compulsions, and to the idea that sometimes, the best way forward is to simply let things unfold. It's about realizing that life isn't a race to the finish line, but a meandering stroll through a very peculiar, often hilarious, landscape. So, next time you find yourself wrestling with life, trying to force a square peg into a round hole, perhaps it's time for a strategic retreat. Channel your inner Bukowski, maybe grab a questionable beverage. Or embrace your inner Russell, perhaps a nice cup of Earl Grey and a good book. And just don't try. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, often has a better plan, usually involving less effort and more unexpected delights. That's all for this episode of Deep Chit Chat. If you enjoyed this dive into the glorious abyss of not trying, please remember to like, subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, don't try too hard to share this video. But if you feel compelled, who am I to stop you? See you next time, or whenever the universe decides we should chat again.